Hi, and welcome to this week's Midweek Musing for Wednesday the 6th of April. Last week we were thinking about the idea of immunity and whether catching the virus can make us, can protect us from getting it again, and thinking about the sacrifice of Jesus and what he made possible. This week I want us to think a bit about healing. And there's a lot of work going on at the moment to produce vaccines to stop us getting the virus, or drugs to treat us if we do, to come up with something that will allow us to resume sort of normal lives again after this virus. Don't know if you remember, but in the early days of the spread of this virus, there was talk about super spreaders, a term that was used to describe those who maybe were infected, even if they didn't have any symptoms, but were spreading this disease among many, many people. Not a great term, but a term that was used. How about a super healer? I was reminded of a story in the Old Testament where the people of God were being led to the promised land, and it was hard, it was difficult, and they complained about the situation they were in and how difficult they were finding it. God heard, God was angry, I think, about their complaining, and he sent judgment. The judgment he sent was as poisonous snakes. And these snakes, they came among the people, and they bit people, and some people died. It was a terrible thing. And the people recognized that they'd done wrong. They asked God for forgiveness, and God said to Moses, who was the leader at the time, and he said, what you need to do is you need to make a replica of one of these snakes. And Moses made it out of bronze, and he put it on a pole. He put it in the middle of the camp, and God said to tell the people that if anyone looks at this serpent, they will be healed. Sounds a bit strange, but that's what they were told to do, and it worked. Hundreds of years later, Jesus picks up this story and uses it to apply to himself. And he says this when speaking to a leader, a teacher of the Jews. And we find this in John chapter 3. And as Moses lifted up the bronze snake on a pole in the wilderness, so the Son of Man must be lifted up, so that everyone who believes in him will have eternal life. Son of Man was a term that Jesus often used to describe himself. When he speaks about being lifted up, he's looking ahead to what's going to happen on the cross, where he's fastened to that cross and raised up above the earth. And the idea that people can look to him and find forgiveness and enter into a life that is as life was meant to be lived, a life that will go on forever with Jesus. And he's saying that the way in which people can have forgiveness is through him. We have not yet found a way to heal people from the virus, but in Jesus we have a way to heal people from sin. Something to receive, something to rejoice in, something to celebrate, and something to share with others. Here's some questions to think about. Does God punishing the people by sending snakes match up with your understanding of God? How would you have reacted if, having been bitten, you were told you could get better by looking at a bronze snake? How would you explain the importance of the sacrifice of Jesus to someone who knows nothing about God or the Bible? Why do some people struggle with the idea that they need to believe in Jesus to get eternal life? May God bless us all as we rejoice in the life we've received from him.